Shalina Harris, and I'm here with Wesley Johnson, and we're part of Every Cowboy Has a Story. And today we're going to get Wesley's story. Give me a little bit of what you're doing now.
Well, now we go up and down the road, and it's on the entertainment side of things now. So basically, I'm just playing music and keeping the energy level up and down, and telling time scores and just basically giving a better input on each event and what it's based on and the rules and everything, and it goes and just give the crowd a little more insight on what's going on and everything like that.
So you are the rodeo announcer, and I'm going to tell you, we are partial to our rodeo announcers because they keep the vibe going, like you said, but also if you take somebody, an announcer who knows what's going on behind the scenes, it helps a lot. Like they can give you a good commentary of everything. What is some of the behind the scenes experience that you bring?
Um, that that's probably the coolest thing, and a lot of the people that know me and have went with me is it's different for me, and even I'm only 33, and I feel sometimes to being an announcer that's kind of young because I still have the desire to go. I mean, it was just 2 weeks ago. We went to an event down in Benson, and I mean, I entered team roping, and right in the slack. So, and we placed third. Me and a buddy of mine, Brandon Moretti, that I actually rode bulls with for a long time. So, I mean,
That is awesome. I
growing up,
love it.
growing up, I had a lot of experience to be able to do. I put it like this: I'm not going to say I was successful at everything, but I was able to do from the bucking shoots to the time of the event, even to the barrel racing. I've rode barrel horses, so yes,
Sweet.
yes,
That
ma'am.
is
Knowing
awesome.
knowing knowing the events inside out, I feel like is what's kept me in the game and been able to do it like
Absolutely.
this. Yes,
So
ma'am.
I thought it was just bull riding.
No, ma'am.
Awesome.
No, ma'am.
So, what is your favorite event to compete in?
Well, I guess it would say bull riding, but if I had to pick another event, I would say team roping, just because the horsemanship and you get to watch animals work, and I've been super blessed to be able to ride some really really good horses in my life, and so yeah, I'd have to say team roping.
So, where do you call hometown? What is hometown?
Originally I call home from Jefferson, South Carolina.
Sweet.
It's very small town, very small town. One stoplight. uh, They're actually having a rodeo there 7 miles down the road this weekend, which is the Watermelon Festival and everything like that. So yeah, it's just pretty much go to work. You either are a farmer, a construction, or you go work at the mills. One of the three, and that didn't suit too fine with me.
I,
So,
I
so
understand.
yeah,
It's something about, just the lifestyle, the cowboy lifestyle, the Western heritage.
yeah,
They want the wide open. They
right.
don't want to be confined in
No,
any
ma'am.
area.
No, ma'am.
So looking back, how long have you been doing this? You said you were 33.
I'm 33. I guess um, as an announcer, I've probably been doing this full time, right, going on 3.5 to 4 years now. But as far as rodeoing, I've been rodeoing and competing since I was 9 or 10 years old.
That's a long time.
It's a long
A
time,
long time.
long time, long time.
How did you get started?
My dad rode bulls, and my uncle rode bareback horses, and my aunt run barrels and stuff. And my mom, she never wanted to partake. She got on a pony one time and run through a barbed wire fence, and she said
That was
I'm done. I'll go with y'all, but like that's as
it.
far
The cleaning, the
like
food.
that's it.
Oh gosh.
And so they actually kept me away from rodeoing up till I was about 10 years old. All I ever done was play baseball, football. I wasn't didn't even get to go to rodeos. Well, finally that changed. The old man behind me took me to a guy's ranch down in McBee, South Carolina, for Billy Pritchard and Jupp Pritchard.
Yes.
And that is where my foundation and everything truly started right there. That and Jerry Sellers in a turkey barn in Polkton, North Carolina. Yeah.
Oh,
So that's basically where, and it's cool because a little later on I'll be able to tell you about, I started riding bulls at Jerry Sellers, but a little later on I'll tell you something else pretty cool about him. But yeah, right there, the Pritchards, Joyce, Billy, Jennifer,
yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Anthony, all of them, they had a very big part of my success in my life. There's two men that I strive to be like and strive to cowboy like, and that's Jupp Pritchard and Jason Brumley. So
I've heard Jason Brumley's name before too.
that's the two that I strive to mix in with it, is that part. So yes, ma'am, that's basically where it started at.
What is it about their character that you look at them and you're like, that's what I want to be?
Well, to start off with, like with Jupp Pritchard, he was, when I was growing up, like I said, all I ever wanted to do was cowboy. It's nothing against going to work. Everybody has to do it, and I understand that. But for me, I just took more pride in going and doing it, and the reason being is because, my dad, he wasn't around much when I was younger, so I needed that guidance and everything. So I went, and I was homeschooled, so I'd do all my schoolwork on 1 or 2 days, and I'd just go to Jutt's house.
That's what they do. Get it in and get it
And
out.
I'd stay with him or Billy, and Jutt just always strived. He was a cowboy. He could go take a rope and beat the dirt off of it and get on a 3-year-old colt and go win at open rodeos. And he could pick up, he could ride saddle bronc horses, and he could ride bulls, and I mean, he could do it all. And I was like, man, that's what I want. That's what I want. Or I thought I thought that. I was like, this is what I'm gonna do, and I started riding colts, and everything I learned about being a man, from team roping to saddling a horse, to trimming a horse's feet, the working cows, the anything like that, the tractors, anything that a young man should know how to do at that age, Billy Pritchard taught me. He took me. It was pretty simple. You woke up every morning, you got there at 7 o'clock, you fed horses, you went in there, Miss Joyce fed us, and then they had a brick wall, and we'd tie 7 to 10 horses up on that brick wall, and there was a fire break. You'd get on them colts, and we'd long trot them and around the hayfield, and we'd hit that hay break, we'd load. And it just all started from there, like getting on roping steers, and then I was like, you know what? I'm tired. These little steers, like, I want to go to rodeo, and I can't go to rodeo riding these. So then I started high school rodeoing for Jerry Sellers and Gerald Rhines, and that's where it all just kind of.
And I said about bull riding, you either love it or you don't.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you do, you're hooked. It's in your blood. It's something that just.
And for me, my mom and my grandma and my aunt did not want me to do it. My aunt wanted me to rope. She wanted me to rope calves and team rope, and that's what she really pushed me to do. And I guess to this day, that's why I still rope a good bit, is because, or I wouldn't say a good bit, every chance I get,
Right.
And so yeah, that really meant a lot, and just being able to go and do stuff like that, and that, I don't know, for a year I didn't ride a bull. For the first year I didn't ride a bull. I didn't know if I was putting my bull rope on right. I didn't know, most people had their dads back there. I had grandma in the stands, and
Who's probably praying
and Dana in the back, and then Judd kind of stepped in and got me started and got me on the basics and got me to high school rodeoing, and him and Billy really helped me out. Riding them colts every day,
Oh, gosh.
like it really built me up. So, you know, from about 10 to 14, the 15, we took a pretty good licking every weekend, and still did on a good bit.
Right.
But until then, we kind of, it took us a while to figure it out. Late bloomer, I'd say. You know.
What was it like when you covered your first bull, though? You've done dedicated so much to it.
I won't never forget it. I've still got a picture at the house. We were in Clover, South Carolina. I think Brad was there that day. I got on a bull from Gerald Rhines at his daughter Crystal and her husband's place, Big Red, and I rode him in the junior bull riding, and I was like, yeah, I won $75, and I was hooked. I was
Spend
hooked.
175.
Yeah. I was like, I'm hooked. I'm hooked. And I ended up going the rest of the year and won my first buckle there. Won my first two buckles there. Yes, ma'am. I actually won the junior division that year, and then come back the next year and won the open division.
Sweet.
Yes, ma'am.
That is awesome.
Yes.
So you high school rodeoed for South Carolina?
Yes, ma'am. All my freshman and my 10th grade year was no good to me. It was tough. It was tough, you know. But my problem was I didn't have. I mean, Judd, he would teach me, but he was very, very hard on me, and there was no pity and no slack, you know. And I'm glad he done me that way, you know. Now looking back, I really am. Him and Billy both, like, because it molded me and it helped me, but it was rough. The freshman and 10th grade year was rough.
Both my boys rode, so I know how Mom and Grandma feel, and I can, you know, I can remember David covering his first bull. He took that mouthpiece out, and the picture shows the slobber slinging off of it. He was just so excited. So
right, yes, ma'am.
It's an adrenaline.
It's a feeling. Unless you truly do it, I don't think you can understand it. No. Really, you know.
I can remember he ended up getting hurt, and we didn't know it was going to be his last ride.
Right.
The hardest thing was watching him come back several weeks, and it took him probably a couple of months even to pack his bull rope and bag up.
Right.
And we sat there, and nobody said anything.
Yeah.
Because we knew just his whole heart had went into
it. Right. Yeah, it's one of those things, and now as an announcer, looking back, I'm even like, man, how did I do that all those years, you know? And nowadays it's even stouter, you know. The bulls that's coming along and the kids that are coming along is just, you know, I mean, they got a bright future. I'll say that. Absolutely. They got a bright future. So yes, ma'am.
I always, if my boys had good bullfighters in the arena, I felt so much better. You know, I called them the cowboy lifeguards.
Right. Yeah, that always means a lot when you sit down on one that weighs a good bit. He's got a big old set of baseball bats, and you know the man out there. Yes. Yeah, I live with a bullfighter now, so me and him share a house. So
who is it?
Quinn Moran, and he made his first UBF World Finals this past December, and he's rolling now. So yeah, we call it the compound. You know, we got an announcer and a bullfighter. So
what else do you need?
It's a good combination. Yeah, the bills get paid.
Hey, that's all that matters.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you think on your journey, and you know, my girls sat here and heard you say that you've been riding and doing this since you were 9 or 10 years old. What advice would you have to somebody that's 9 or 10 years old, a boy? Let's say if you could go back and talk to yourself at 9 or 10.
Don't waste your time, because you know, and I'm not. I refuse to be one of the guys that quit riding bulls and sits in the corner and says, "Oh, well, back then, this and that." I'm not going to say that. What I will say, life is too short, and the bulls are way stouter now. And if you want to be successful and you want to have that feeling and be able to truly do it, just go with it because that's I would if I really do wish I could have went back, and everybody does wish
Oh
you could
gosh.
go back and do things different, but the way I done it, I wouldn't regret it. So yeah, if I'd say one thing, I'd say just tie your hand and roll with the flow.
What were some of the hardest lessons you
Man, that's well, the first hardest lesson I guess you could say that I truly ever learned is the true hard lesson. I thought I was gonna leave. We went to nationals,
Where
and
was nationals?
it was in Gillette, Wyoming. This
Love it
this
out there.
this was I was a senior, and it was real cool because my mom, she done an excellent job. Her and my grandma and my aunt Dana, they done everything to support me, and like I always had the best equipment. Made sure I got the every bull riding, and it got tough in high school. So when I started getting in about 11th grade, my mama would just take me sometimes, and I'd stay with somebody else, or I'd get around.
Yeah.
So I learned at a young age how to do it and everything like that. And we went out there, and I wasn't sure if we was gonna have enough money, because you had to put a down payment that night at the
Yes, the
high
next
school
day you're
finals.
writing
You,
checks.
you know, you're writing a
Yes.
check. And my mom, she's raising me and my brother by herself, and my grandma and them, and she won the half and half that night, and she gave all that money for me to go, and she couldn't afford for all of us to go and everybody. So I went with Rowdy Rice. I was rodeoing with Rowdy Rice and Jay Miller and Levi Whitlock and Wesley Butler at the time, a bunch. So I went with Rowdy. Well, when I got out there, I've been from Jefferson my whole life. Small town. I I felt like it was my opportunity to go. If I was going to have a chance in life to truly, so called, make it to the big show and to the PBR, this was it. So I called home and I told my mom, I said, I don't think I'm going to come home. And she said, What? I said, Yeah. I said, I think I'm going to go to New Mexico. She said, Are you crazy? And I was like, I'm serious. I was like, I love you. I was like, I'm gone. And I went and I bounced around and stayed with a steer wrestler one time. I stayed with a veterinarian, but then I got hooked up with a guy that he hauled bulls to the CBRs, and him and he had an Indian boy, and me and that Indian boy, that guy would go get 60 head of bulls from Texas, and he would pay me and that boy $20 a piece to get on them. They'd never seen a human being, and the first day, I guess he was just testing me. I sat down on one, and I didn't have a helmet at this time, or anything like. And this bull slammed me face first and split my head, and I didn't have but like $400-500. That's all I had. I don't even think I had that. And he's like, "You either get back on the bull, or you leave," and like.
Well, yeah.
So they wrap my head up, and I get back on the bull, and he's like, "Hey, you're good." After that, he treated me like a son, and I stayed out there for a while, and that really helped my bull riding career and molded me because out there,
Yeah.
it was different. It was different, and I got to go around to a lot of the good bull riding, some CBRs, and I got to go to a lot of the big reservation bull ridings. And they have a bull riding out there, Wild Thing in Gallup, New Mexico, and it was the wildest thing I ever seen. So yeah, that was. But then wintertime come home and I learned real quick. Hey, I'd kind of got ahead of myself a little too much, and I wasn't probably riding as good as what I should have been to go. And I learned a real hard lesson that I had to call mom and get an airplane ticket sent up to me, and yeah, had to call for help. They were right. Yep, had to admit it. Yep.
But they were there, and you got that experience.
I got that experience, and I came home, and I had all that, and I was like, man, yeah. And from not saying there weren't strong bulls around here or anything, because they really were, but I came back, and yeah, it went to a different level for us.
I always say the kids that go out to nationals, they come back a different competitor.
100%. 100%.
And I always encourage, even like if it's a struggle, if it's no matter what, if you can make it happen, get your kids to nationals, just because it's an experience that changes.
Everybody strives to make the NFR and the PBR World Finals, and both of those are very prestige events, and they're at the top. But when you're in high school and you qualify, and I know it's very hard financially. I know how it is on single parents. I mean, my family didn't even get to go with me. I mean, I had to go with somebody else, but I still got to go, and I had that opportunity, and it is the largest rodeo you will ever go to in your life. And to be successful there, and that it goes back to with Judd. At the time, I graduated in 2010. So all through that period of time, nobody had been successful. I mean, I think maybe Jerome Davis had been a little successful been successful at the high school national finals, but other than nobody from South Carolina had. Well, Judd and Trip Willis, they'd won second at the high school national finals that time. And until Adam Plyler went, and done real well and was successful, nobody else had. So that's what I was striving to do. But we were let down in a hurry, reality check, I guess you could say. So
it does. When you think about now that you're an adult, you realize more the sacrifices that your family made for you.
Yeah, that's the hardest part for me. I lived in South Carolina my whole life. Never thought I'd leave. I figured I was working for Strawberry Pruitt, packing panels, loading calves, and riding bulls. Me and Andrew Wiles was rodeoing together, and I was living with my grandma and at the time, and I was like, man, this is how it's gonna roll. This is how it's gonna pan out. And I'd played around with a microphone and everything a little bit, and I was just like, I'm not ready for that yet. Yeah, I wasn't ready for the commitment, but most importantly, I wasn't ready to quit riding bulls. I was still enjoying riding bulls and being able to win somewhat or pack enough panels and be able to pay to get to the next one. And I lost the biggest gut check. It was like a storm that spiraled in 3 stages, basically, that I can tell you. And I know everybody's got a sad story, and everybody's got things that made them and molded them. But I stayed. Jerry Sellers had told me, before I could tell you this, Jerry Sellers hired me to do a rodeo right after Justin White did. Justin White hired me when I wasn't but 16 years old to announce a rodeo, and I done it. And they tried to get me to keep on, I wouldn't. Well, Jerry Sellers was a very hard, dry man, and he didn't never give nobody a compliment. And we were in Bethune, South Carolina. He paid me $100 a night. I didn't have to take no sound. I just had to show up and announce. And after the first night, he'd come up and grab me. He said, "Boy, you better sell that rigging bag and buy you a microphone." He said, "Because if you do, you won't ever have to work another day in your life." And I was like, I don't want to do it. Well, I guess it was chose for me, I guess you could say. But the first thing happened. As I could say, in the 3 stages. My aunt was diagnosed with colon cancer, stage 4 colon cancer, and I through my whole bull riding career, like I said, my mom was always there. She done a great job, and I always love her for it, and appreciate everything she done. But Dana, truly, like, she ran barrel. She knew the feeling, and I broke my collarbone in Gainesville, Georgia one time, and she drove all the way down there to get me. I mean, Zachary my brother lost the keys one time in Newport. She drove 7 hours to bring us a set of keys. She was just always there. So when she ended up passing away, and when she did, it just done something to me. I don't know. For a while, it made me bitter, because when I'd always get off my bulls, she'd be the first one I called. And the first week I actually went to a rodeo the day after, or the evening of her funeral, and I had to go, but when I got there, it didn't feel right, and we didn't ride too well, and I automatically picked up the phone and dialed her number, and my mom answered, and it got me, and I kept on, and I kept packing panels, and I still made the SRA finals a couple times. Well, then I started a boy out of Virginia wanted me to announce a rodeo, or actually clown a rodeo, and I did, and it didn't really pan out, and I kind of started getting a few calls here and there. Well, then the Guytons hired me, and they give me a full schedule, and that so at that time it helped kind of hold me together and everything. Well, then it just it there there wasn't enough money there financially, at the time. We were trying to get there, but it just wasn't. And so at the time I said I couldn't change it. I was, my grandma, she was still 72 years old, still testing water valves, and I'm like, so then I kind of veered off. I took a break I told Strawberry I was done. I told Andrew I was done. And I just basically quit going and started dealing Texas Hold'em in Omaha and poker games. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, and I done that for a year and a half, 2 years, and it made real good money. I made 500, 600 a night, and I was like, I ain't got to ride bulls no more, and I'd still go here and there, but when I'd go rodeo, I'd be like, man, it just wasn't there no more, and
death changes you.
And then we caught a second wind, and we got away from dealing poker and doing all that, and I was riding good again and doing somewhat decent and everything, and I lost my grandmother. Right, it wasn't a year or two later, and that was stage 2, and I was like, well, I have no problem admitting it. I was right there, from the time 19 to 28, all I did was ride bulls and pack panels. I didn't do nothing else. So if I didn't ride a bull or pack a panel, I didn't make a dollar. Well, now looking back, and I can say this now, and it's always easier to say it later. That's pretty selfish, of me. But when I would try to quit, me and my grandma would sit there in that little old town at the house, and her and they just wouldn't never let me, And I said that day at her funeral when I spoke on behalf of the family and everybody, and I told them, that I could remember that. But now as an announcer, it chokes me up when me and Brad's riding down the road, or when I talk about it, it gets me, because I look at what they sacrificed. And all those years of not making enough and not doing it, all it done was mold me to be a rodeo announcer. And I struggle daily. Like, for the longest time, my mouth from riding bulls, I didn't really have a top row of teeth, and for the people that truly that I'm there with and I'm close with, poor Quinn, when I got my mouth fixed, he couldn't look at me for 2 weeks. He's like, man, him and Brad both, like, they didn't know what to do, and I had a real good close friend help me get it fixed, and she done everything she could, and it changed everything. And my mom told me that she just couldn't do it no more. So I left, and I was scared to death, and we got this going, and I moved to Boone and lived with Tristan Norris and Lane Green for a winter, and I was scared to death, and I didn't know if this announcing was going to work. And I can just remember, slowly but surely, I'd lay in bed every night, and I'd say the same prayer over and over. And I still, to this day, when I lay down at night, I say the same prayer. I always pray for my family first, my friends, and then I ask God to be with me, but not for my happiness or for my satisfaction, for His will to be done. And I was real wild and reckless as a kid. I really was, and you can't change nothing like that. And I still make mistakes every single day, but I strive to be better, but it really helped me. But that's where Jason Brumley comes into play. Everybody asks me why I go work the cow cell, and it's no big secret. We don't get rich doing it,
No,
we don't.
you
But
are.
I do believe in the good Lord above, and I go and attend church or services when able to. We just, it's not an excuse. We're on the road a lot, but for me, I answer the question. I'll tell you the reason I work the cow cell and why I say Jason Brumley is that guy. I go to the cow cell. That's my church.
Yeah.
That's my reminder every week, of what hard work and dedication really is, and what steady drip wears away the stone. That's my motto, and that's the way I want to be. And I tell people that, like Judd Pritchard and Brumley, they are the two most cowboy people I know. But the reason I look at their character and their pride is not only the way they carried themselves, but they made a living being a cowboy, doing what they wanted to do, and that's what I strive. So yeah, I get to go to the sale barn every week, and for a lot of people that probably doesn't excite them, and they could care less to go work 10 or 12 hours and stand on your feet and just, it's hot and it's miserable. But at the end of the day, when I walk out the sale barn on Monday nights, and I've got to hang around Big Brum and Connor and Colton and Quinn and Matt Leisure and all my buddies, and we get paid for it. It's 14 minutes down the road. It is a taxpayer job. I mean, so I mean, it works, and
That's
but
what I
yeah,
love.
I could probably say a lot more into detail here and there, but that's really, the main part is I see things so different now. I really do. And don't get me wrong, I like to go out. I like to dance. I
Yes.
like to drink a beer here and there. I like to have a good time.
Right.
One thing that I did take away when I left South Carolina and I moved up here up to Boone is life's too short. I watched my grandmother. I watched my aunt. I watched my grandpa. Everybody be perfect, so-called perfect people and citizens, and work their life away, and you end up in the same dirt,
Yes.
and I just for me it's just that I have to keep going. I have to keep striving because if it isn't what the good Lord didn't want, if it's not what He didn't want me to do, it would not stay as consistent as it is. I counted to try to give you the estimated number, but as of right now, I've been super blessed. We're probably going to do. I, I'll just put it like this because I get mixed up. I will cut my computer on right at 250 times this year.
Very good.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
And so that it's been super blessed. And Brad, he calls me the book of knowledge all the time because he messes with me, and Miss Brandy she helped me a bunch because I don't need a day sheet now. When I go to the rodeos around here, the bull rides, the only reason you need to give me a day sheet is for the barrel racing.
Yeah.
There ain't, I take a lot of pride in that. And as a bull rider, I was always good at knowing the bulls and remember them. But from WC Rodeo Company to LTG to Hunter Denning, to Chicken Hill, the Rafter 3, most all of them, if they got a brand and they're hauling them right now, I know them. So if I can look at the bull riders chaps or the bull, I know where we're going.
And that is, I think it's a talent. Like, to be able to look at the bulls and know, okay, this belongs to this, and that's that rider, and so when you sit back and you think of where you started and where you are today.
Yeah, that kind of make you say wow a little bit, you see it all the time in everything, in football, especially in bull riding and rodeoing. When people get in front of a camera, they get a question asked to them like that. Especially a lot of bull riders, they'll tell you. You see it on TV. They'll tell you, I just, really got to give God all the glory because, and they're like, what? Why do they always say it? Well, until you experience something that most people don't ever go and really fulfill a dream,
They don't.
and for the longest time I was upset that I couldn't beat. It's not that I wasn't good enough, but I couldn't beat the mental side of bull riding more consistently than what other people could. It's not that nobody is, and that's the thing about winners and losers. I can remember riding down the road with Strawberry one night, and I was just mad as could be. I wasn't riding good, and I didn't even want to pack panels. And me and him, we'd go back and forth at it. And he told me, he said, the only difference between you and the guys out there winning or doing this, he said, winners find excuses to win and losers find excuses why they're losing. That and a motto that I heard Cody Wright say, and I put this in all my posts. I put it when I signed your book. Steady drip wears away the stone.
I was going to ask you to repeat that.
You take a rugged rock and put it in the creek and come back and look at what that rock has done. It is smooth as a baby's rear end. So, I didn't realize it my whole life that all those years, I wasn't that great. of a bull rider maybe, but it was just preparing me to be able to be a better announcer and to learn the insides and out and all the, when I didn't get to go just first off to get to go rodeo. I was taught that you've got to learn to be a cowboy before you can be a rodeo cowboy. And a lot of people don't even know that I can rope or that I can ride a horse. And down at Vincent, it was funny because we entered and they're all looking at me, and I'm just keep,
like
keep 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 looking, guys.
What's that? Make them keep them on their toes.
Keep
100%,
100%, 100%.
Yeah, you never know what to expect.
100%. But from looking back then to now, yes, that's why I can say I'm super blessed, and I still struggle with things in my life, things even that are going on daily now. But I'm just trying to put one foot in front of another, and people are steadily calling. The calendar's staying full, and I mean, I made way more money announcing than I ever did riding bulls. Like so. I can truly lay down at night and or have a conversation with somebody and truthfully say when they ask you what do you do for a living, I'm a rodeo announcer, because that's what pays the bills, and that's what keeps us going.
I love it. When you talk about the bull riders and they thank God, and I think for the majority of the rodeo contestants and the kids, they do give a lot of credit to God. Is there a turning point in your life when you're like, man, I know 100% God showed up right there in that moment?
Yeah, so this is kind of it's kind of the rough part, but I mean, there's bad with good and everything, and I feel that's one thing that I kind of uh, I look different with. I have different point of views on that kind of subject than other people would. A lot of people just want to sweep it under the floor, keep it hush, and that's fine. I'm not saying just stir the hornet's nest, but you can't just say that you were successful from day one. Like I don't know too many people that were just, successful from day one. So when I when my mom told me, and that it was either you go to work, you make honest dollars, so-called honest dollar, and you do this, you stay around here, or you can keep rodeoing, but you got to leave. And at the time, it was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever felt. I just lost, I'd lost Dana, I'd lost my grandma, and but what I didn't take under consideration is the pain that she was going through. Not only did I lose an aunt and a grandma, she lost a sister and a mother. And I was looking back now, I 100% probably should have dealt with things in certain situations a lot better, but
you do the best you can.
The only way I knew to let it out and to cope with it was to go rodeo harder, But so when I left and went to Boone, I had $500 and 6 speakers and a laptop and all my buckles and a leather jacket. And Tristan told me, he's like, you can't live with me forever, but you can come live with me for a half a year. So I knew moving in that I was going to have to leave. Well, I have never been so scared in my life. I did not know if the announcing, even with the events that I had, I didn't know if it was truly going to pan out or not. And every night I told the Lord, I said, I know you're not going to leave me. I was raised, my grandmother, my mom, everybody, they told me that, that was really instilled in me, believe it or not, at a young age, was prayer. My grandma Jan, she made sure of that. So I just prayed the same prayer every night, it just started snowflaking. And then March got here, and we was staying busy. And then April got here, and then May, and before I knew it, I looked down and I could afford to eat a steak, you know. and then I looked down and I was able to buy a car,
Oh
and
my
then I
gosh.
looked down and I was able to buy 2 cars, and then I looked down and me and Quinn Moran are moving to daggum Moxville and got her own house and doing stuff like this. But and everybody's like, well, yeah, that's expected of you to do it. I understand that, but we done it
Doing what you love.
exactly with a microphone and a set of bullfighting cleats. And for me, I could never announce another rodeo again. No matter what happens, I'm not settling. I still got a lot of goals, a lot of ambition, a lot of places I want to go with it. But very, very proud. I get told all the time by one of my companions that's with me today that I don't never give myself the credit I should be, but that goes back to like Brum and like Judd. Like you don't see guys like that bragging,
Yeah.
and I was probably a little too free spirited as a bull rider, so I try to be a whole lot better announcer, and keep it in composure.
Right.
And yeah, so
if you died today.
If I died today, I could be happy with everything because I made a living being a cowboy. And I don't want to be known as just an announcer or just a bull rider or just that. That's what I want to be known as a cowboy, because I can come off that announcer stand and I can rope, or I can attempt to do what everybody else is doing. I'm not gonna say how good I am at it, but I feel like I feel like I've carried my own and been able to go and be competitive enough. Yes, ma'am.
What you mentioned, you still have goals. You have places you want to go.
So I wanted to go to the IFR showcase last year, but it was hard for me to really be able to go to the next level of my announcing because of my mouth. I was very insecure about it. Couldn't smile right, couldn't do everything. Well, I wanted to go to the showcase, but I wouldn't. I had people wanting to go with me, willing to go with me, or anything like that, but I wouldn't go. And I said, I just can't. I got to get like I wouldn't even go do but certain rodeos, certain places because of insecurity problems and stuff like that. But now we were at a little gathering over Halloween, and I had a lady friend come up and we were chit chatting, and she said, I'm gonna help you get your mouth fixed. And man, she darn sure didn't have to, and I probably never deserved. I'll never admit that I deserve it or anything, but it's one of the most genuine things that anybody has ever done for me in my life. I can smile now. I can sit here with you and have a conversation and not feel so bad. You know what I mean? And so yeah. So now I'm gonna go to Oklahoma this year to the IFR, and then I'm gonna go to Mississippi to their showcase down there, and we're gonna keep trucking, and just the sky's the limit. As long as they keep calling, I'll keep going.
Wherever they call you.
Yes, ma'am. It's a lot of my friends don't that I've rode bulls with, and I didn't look at it now, and I'm really starting to realize it now, especially in my age. A lot of my buddies don't get to go to the rodeo no more. They can go, but a lot of them won't go because it bothers them, because they can't ride bulls. And everybody knows that a bull rider, he tries to turn a team roper or judge or something like this. Nobody in this part of the country ever thought that I would become an announcer. And I feel like that's the best part about it.
Absolutely.
That is the best part about it. My mama, I used to get in trouble in school for talking, and now they pay me for it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Do you know Kyle Evans' story?
I have heard a good bit about it, and that's how I found out about you, was him and Austin Sanders.
Yes. So Kyle Evans, his story. This is his handwriting,
Right.
and when I asked him like 3 times. I did not know him. I asked him 3 times. I
Right.
said, "Can I have your story?" I don't even know why I kept asking because
Right.
I had a lot coming in, and so I said one more time, and he said, "Can I handwrite it?" I said, "Absolutely. I'll type it." He handwrote it, and he took a picture of it and sent it to me, and it had tear stains on it. And Andy Andrews' wife is the one I was telling her about it, and she said that needs to be the cover of your book. So not until this book was published did I know that Kyle Evans' teacher told him that his handwriting was horrible and he would never amount to anything. And so his handwriting is on the cover of a book. He is a rodeo announcer.
One of the very
One
best.
of the very best.
Very best. He's helped me out a good bit, and I mean, it's just people like that. It's and I just seen him last weekend, and like you say, the tear stains in it will humble you down.
Yes.
Like it's not a measuring contest.
No.
I've got me and him's got something in common. We've got two things. Our handwriting is terrible, and we both going up down the road, like this. So I mean, yeah.
I can remember him being at his crossroads of he wanted to be 100% rodeo announcing, but he wanted to make a living at it, and it was like I remember him and I talking, and I just we both were like, man, you just gotta live your life. You gotta live your dream, because if you don't, you're gonna spend your whole life being like, why didn't I?
Yeah.
I'm gonna kick my tail. Why didn't I do that?
I still
And
have
look at him now.
I still have a lot of choices like that I wish I would have went, and even like he said, I can remember even him. I can remember being a kid watching him ride bulls and seeing how far he's come, and I look at him, Tyler Brown, Matt McGee,
Yes.
A lot of people probably don't even remember, but I really enjoyed as a kid listening to Jerome's dad, Carson Davis, announce. And I do a bull riding in Benson, North Carolina for Hunter Denton, and he told me Randy Martin was there one night, and he come up to me, and I was talking with him about his bulls and this and that and the other, and he said, "You know why Carson Davis was one of the best bull riding announcers?" And I said, "No, sir." He said, "It's because he truly loved the sport."
Yes.
I mean, when I announce each and every event now, from the bronc riding to the barrel racing, I can feel it.
Yeah.
And whether we're riding saddle bronc horses, whether we're calf roping, like I can feel it as I'm doing it with them right there, and that's what I love to do is, I know what it made me feel like as a bull rider. So I want to be able to give that energy, and just hold them in your hand.
Yes. Our high school rodeo announcer, Candace Parsley, she high school rodeoed, but she is amazing. Like she'll tell the kids, like, okay, head towards the chute, head toward. She can guide them on what to do. She feels it, and you can feel it.
Right.
And just like when Kyle announces, oh my gosh, you feel that pride. When he just even says stand for the national anthem and remove cover, you feel that.
And that's another thing is like the opening at a rodeo. As a bull rider, never really paid much attention. Just always take your hat off and stand there for the national anthem and pray. But now that is the best part of the rodeo. And I struggled. I can remember Kyle one time calling me. It took me a little bit, to understand Kyle, but he was just helping me. Like, me and him, I can call him now, but I can remember he called me one time and he said, "Man, I listened to that open and I didn't like it. I don't think it was very good. It just didn't roll right." And I'm like, "Oh man, like I thought I done good, like no." So I went back and we've been working on it and doing some new stuff, and he's actually, I must be doing, either I'm doing something halfway decent or I'm getting a little better, or they're just that desperate. Maybe a little bit of both, because I mean,
Right.
one to two. They seem to keep calling. I don't know what it is, but it is. It's been a super blessed life, but I just on the hard days, I just try to think back at what all and the time and everything that everybody's put into me and helped me get to where I'm at today, and the people that that helped me now. I feel super fortunate. I like to say I got real lucky when I started announcing in a way, because Wesley Butner was starting his rodeos, Lane Green was starting his bull riding, Hunter Denton was starting his, and it was just, I mean, I'm we do anywhere from 3 to 5 a week.
That is awesome.
I mean, it is, and that's why when I tell people, they're like, "Well, you're doing that many. Why are you going to the cow sale on Monday?" And that's when I always throw that back.
Yes.
And I mean, so yeah, it's super blessed, super blessed. Can't say it enough. Cannot say it enough. Can't stress it enough for all the people that hire me, that help me, that have had a role or a hand in it. From the bottom of my heart, it truly, truly means the world to me to be able to do it. Words can't describe it.
That's powerful.
It really. I mean, I don't. It. We say it all the time. Me and Quinn will be sitting at the house. Like I said, we rodeo all weekend. We work the cow sale on Mondays. Tuesdays is basically cleaning day, and and everything gets you dry cleaning ready. And a lot of times we're either leaving on Wednesday or first thing Thursday morning, going afternoon going to Boone, or that morning, and then rodeoing. So that there ain't a whole lot of time home, but when we sit there and we really get to look around, and there's a fine line, and I try to be so careful with it, because I was so free spirited, as I would say, as a bull rider, and like just not caring, and just whatever. But as an announcer, I try to really stay humble and modest about it. But I just can't get over it. They taught me, they pay me to talk and play music, and I just get to keep doing it, and like living the dream, and it's amazing, and like I just wish I could share it with everybody.
Take what's in your heart and be like, man.
I had a girl I'd been seeing, so, and everything. The one that helped me get my mouth fixed, and
I have earrings for her, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
well, we're not gonna say it.
Anyway, okay.
Anyway, that's. I thought that was pretty much, this is the way things is gonna roll, and all the helping, with that, and taking us to the next level and everything. So it just from the bottom of my heart, and that's the main reason I told you I wanted to do this with you, is just because
I tried to get your interview before.
I know. Busy. If I'm not,
it was super. Like, it was hot. It was busy.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, we were at Foster's deal.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's Austin and Kyle had been telling me about this, and it does, man. It from the whole 9 yards, from just everything that's happened, like in the past 3 months, 4 months, like just I don't know. Like the mouth hole ordeal, getting it fixed, is just wow me. You know what I'm saying? So like,
do you just ever sit back and be like, God, you put all these people in my life to help me?
I do, and what can I do? That's the problem, because I try to share it, and like that's what I'll just say it. I tell my lady friend now, I'm like that. She tells me, you're too high strung. You like, you're too hyper. Even when you got a weekend off, you feel like you got to go or do. And I'm like, that's just the way I'm built. My grandma used to tell me I had too big of a heart, but I do. I try to give back to the sport that give me, and I try to most importantly give back to the people that build me and that help me. Because I'm gonna tell you, it may look like glitter, glams, and roses going up and down the road and doing it. And don't get me wrong, it is super blessed, and I've sat here and bragged on it, and I enjoy it. And it's like Kyle, me and him agree on this. It's better than digging ditches and pouring concrete, but you spend a lot of time alone, and a lot of sacrifices. I mean, me and him, if there's one person that really give me some more motivational thoughts was him. You know, kind of the things he told me meant. You know, like people aren't going to agree with you. Your dream's not everybody else's. People's not going to understand it, and it gets through up to me this day by everything. I just can't go make such and such in one night. You know, I mean, like I get that, and I really do my best to stay as modest and calm and humble about that part of it. I hate talking money. I hate talking money. If I could do them for free, I still would do it.
Yes.
So.
And that's the whole. I think what you're truly living is if you could do anything in the world and the paycheck didn't matter, would you still be doing rodeo announcing?
100%. As long as everything else was took care of, 100%.
Yeah. And you're doing it for other people.
Yes, ma'am. Right now we working for about 12 different ones consistently. Yep, and it's steadily growing. It's cool, but I get Dusty Myers called me a couple months back, and he told me, he said one thing, and Kyle told me about, you got to invest in yourself. If you ain't going to invest in yourself, why should anybody else?
Have a book.
I mean, and it's not no fun spending $1,000 or this or that on a speaker or microphone. And I know people that's got to spend money on other working tools, but it takes money to make money.
It does.
And he told me that. And when Dusty Myers told me he'd been following me on social media, and that being professional with starch pants and starch shirts and a good smile was going to take me further than anything. And by God, that, and it's so much. That, and Keith Isley told me one time, he said, do not take criticism from a man you will not trade places with. So
I love that.
It's just, I love it. I love every aspect about the rodeo world. I love getting to go new places, see things, and for me that's why I wanted to really do it with you, is because that's one thing I can tell younger generation: don't be scared. I wish that I would have made this transition 10 years ago. Maybe I wouldn't hurt nowhere near as bad, and I'd probably have a lot more rodeos and even more money. So like we really would be winning then.
Yeah. When you talk about how other people have impacted your life, when people hear the name Wesley Johnson, what do you want them to? What's the first thought that you want them to think?
Well, for most part, most of them probably think, "Oh Lord," "Oh man," But no, if there's one thing that I truly want people to know, is that I got a good heart, and I strive every single day to be better and to be professional as can be. But at the end of the day, steady drip wears away the stone, and hard work and dedication pays off.
That's going to be the name of your chapter.
Right? Okay. Yeah, I would want it to be. Cody, I wouldn't have it no other way. Me and Austin Sanders have became very good friends. And when I worked with him for the first time, I was scared to death, because he had been in one of the SPR showcase and been to Oklahoma, and he'd been out there and been in front of bigger crowds more consistently than I have, and I was nervous. And man, I always pray before I announce. When I do my 3 hot songs, if anybody ever really pays attention to me, this is how I know they pay attention to me, is before those 3 hot songs, I always take my cowboy hat off and pray. And I'll do it right there in front of everybody, and I do, you know. And I'd say, Lord, I thank you for the opportunity, and I ask that you be with me and help me strive to be better than what I was yesterday. And may your light shine through me, you know. And because you ain't got to look very far, somebody else has got it way worse than you.
Oh gosh.
You know,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's I'm just super blessed. Can't say it enough. Super blessed.
All right. So the book that we're working on right now is called "What It Takes to Be a World Champion," and we were actually out in Wyoming, and the sun was coming up, and I saw like this old cowboy, and he's out watering all the stock, and he's giving them hay, and he's giving them grain, and I thought even before any of these high school contestants are out of bed, he's up taking care of the stock. So it takes somebody to raise the stock, somebody to get the grain. It takes all these people to pour in to the world champion. What do you think it takes to be a world champion?
Mm. I think it takes letting go of everything and everybody, and you live in your own world. You don't live in normal society. You live in your own world because looking, like John Wayne said, looking back's a bad habit, and it's better to go forward than it is backwards
I
in
love
life.
that one.
You know,
That was
so the you gotta just do it, no matter if you making a putt, roping a calf, or shooting a free throw. You know, steady drip wears weight of stone, and consistency is the key in this game. And you just go at them and keep your faith in the good Lord and keep your nose on the grindstone. And I feel like that's what it truly makes or takes to make a world champion.